This week, I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before. I'm going to create 4 whips in my new books. If you're new here, I'm Anna Swan and welcome to the Geeky Gallery. Now, for those of you who saw my shorts on YouTube or my post on Facebook, you already know that I bought these 4 mythographic books from Aldi. They were priced down to €2.50 in our local Aldi, and I just couldn't believe my eyes, so I got all 4 that were available. I couldn't decide which one I wanted to color in first, so I decided I am just going to create whips in all of them and then work on them throughout the next following weeks. Now, I mentioned before that I don't really create whips, and this will be the first time that I'm really doing it. And that is just because doing a whip is so far outside of my personality that I've never really done it. I always either finish a piece that I am working on or I just abandon it and never touch it again. I hardly ever do a small bit on a page or something in a project and then just leave it and come back to it later while I'm doing something else. That is just not something that I'm able to do. So I'm going to attempt it this week, create my 4 whips, and then come back to them later to finish them. So I'm going to take you guys with me while I create these whips, and then later during the month, I will post the video where I finish each one of these whips. So if you enjoy the whips today and you want to see the finished product, I would highly recommend that you subscribe so that you can follow along. We have a very small but a very cool community around here, so you're welcome to join us. Let's first look at the books that I bought. So of the 4 here, I have Fantasy Forest and also Fairy Folklore. Now of the bunch, these 2 are probably my favorites. And we also have Cosmic Spirit, and all 3 of these books are by Fabiana Attanasio. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And then we also have Romantasy from a different author, Veronika Kolinska. Now, Cosmic Spirit and Romantasy, they are probably my least favorite. There are some really good images in both of them, but the overall feel of the book, I have to say, I like these 2 the least. And I think I'm going to do that one in Cosmic Spirit. And then in Romantasy, because it is a romantic book, I have decided to go with the image of the 2 people, I don't know, in love. So let's start with this one first. I wanted to use different mediums for each one of the pages that I'm doing today. So I started off with alcohol markers, and so I'm just placing other paper behind so that they don't bleed through. I have to say I was very happy to see that these pages were one-sided, so I'm actually able to use my alcohol markers in these books. Um, and then for a color palette, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. Usually I choose my color palette before I start a page. I choose all of my colors, but because I was going to create a whip, I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to choose my color palette beforehand. So I just decided I'm going to choose 1 or 2 colors, and then later when I come back to the pages, I might change my mind on the color palette. So I just went for a purple. Purple fits with a lot of other colors. So I had vast options when I came back to the page. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the background. So it kind of looked like they were in a foresty type area. So I wanted to put that in the background. So you'll see that later I kind of only create a silhouette of the other plants and bushes and trees in the forest. So it kind of only feels like the rest of the forest is far behind them. And yeah, that was the plan for the background. I am still figuring out skin tones with my alcohol markers. Drawing portraits and faces is probably one of my favorite things to do, but I haven't been using alcohol markers for very long. So I'm still trying to find my way through the colors and the blending and all of the things necessary for the alcohol markers. So I was very nervous to color these in alcohol markers. And at one point, I wasn't very happy with the skin tone, but I think later on, when I actually use my pencil and add a few more defined lines and a few more details that I couldn't get with the alcohol markers, it does look a little bit better. So I'm just trying to figure out my shading and my colors with the alcohol markers. It's still a learning process for me. So, but yes, I absolutely love doing faces and portraits. So I really enjoyed coloring this page. So here is the completed page, or should I say, completed whip. I am done with this for now. I really love how this turned out. I think the purple and her dark hair just go so well together. What I'm going to do for the rest of the color palette, I have no idea, but that is future me problems. On to the next page. This is the one from Cosmic Spirit. So I'm taping down the border of the page because I'm going to use watercolor. I didn't have any washi tape, so I had to use some masking tape. Now, the idea was to create a galaxy for this background. Now, believe it or not, in my 20 years of doing art, I have never ever done a galaxy background, not even once, or any galaxy drawing for that matter. So, this was my very first try. So, I looked up a bunch of reference photos from NASA and the photos they took of the galaxy, and I just chose one that I kind of liked. Now, in all honesty, I really don't think that this page turned out super great. And in hindsight, I think that the page is probably a little bit too busy for a galaxy background. So I am probably going to have to really tone down the colors and the details when I actually finish the rest of the page. So yeah, at this point, I'm just layering the different colors that I want in the galaxy. I was going back and forth between the colors and what I wanted to do. And I settled for like a orangey yellow green color. So yeah, now I let the page dry, and this is the second layer I'm going to put down. I have to say the paper wasn't too happy about the water on it. It did start buckling quite a bit, and I think if I hadn't taped it down, it would have been a proper mess. So I am glad for the tape. The page underneath at least survived as well. So I wouldn't say that the paper is absolutely terrible, but I don't think that a watercolor was the best idea for this paper. But after this layer, I just left it to dry overnight. So I went to bed and came back the next morning, and then I added the stars to the galaxy. Now, I know that you can use a toothbrush and it makes it look a lot more natural and random, but I didn't want all the white splatter all over the uncolored section of the page. And here is the completed page after I'm done. I guess it doesn't look absolutely terrible. I still don't know if it's too busy though. I guess we will only be able to answer that question after the finished page and everything is done, and then see how it turned out. Right, the third page is from the Fantasy Forest book, and I chose this one with the jellyfish. Now, the idea with the jellyfish was to make them glow in the dark, and this was really tough because I'm not completing the rest of the page. So by the end of this, they don't look like they're glowing yet, because a glowing object becomes clear that it's glowing only after you've finished the rest of the page and all the other objects around it, because the light is shining onto the other objects. So, yeah, they don't look like they're glowing yet, even though that is the plan for completing the rest of the picture. I also want to make them look transparent, and I was also not able to fully do this before I finish the background, because you have to put the background color on top of the object to make it look transparent. So I haven't decided on the color of the background yet, even though I think it will probably be a very dark blue, uh, to create like a night sky to really show the glowing of the jellyfish. But yeah, I don't normally do the glowing object first. That's not the natural way that I do glowing objects. I usually do them last. So I should probably have started with the background, but I didn't want this video to be just me completing a bunch of backgrounds. So I decided to just try and do the jellyfish, and we'll see how it turns out in the end. I used my Derwent Inktense pencils for this one, in case anyone is wondering. I do go over it with my Prismacolor pencils towards the end, although I have to say that they don't really cover the Derwent Inktense pencils as well as I remember. So I tried to add the yellow on top of the colors, but it really wasn't working. So I just decided to add the highlights instead, and if I need to tweak or change it in the future when I come back to it, that is what I'll do. And here is the completed page with all 4 jellyfish done. I hope that by the end of the finished completed page, it will be a lot clearer that they are actually glowing jellyfish in the sky. For my final page, I was so excited to use my new art supply that I bought on Temu, a bunch of iridescent metallic paints, and they are absolutely stunning. Some yellows, greens, purples, and blues. So I decided to use this page from the Fairy Folklore book, and I'm going to color the flowers in this paint. The camera is not really doing this paint a lot of justice, because in real life it just looks so much better than it does on camera. I am going to shift the camera in a little bit and you will see what I'm talking about. So this is really absolutely beautiful paint, and I can see myself using this quite often. I will probably have to add more shadows a little bit later on, just to define the flowers a little bit more. But here you go. I'm going to turn the page and look at that. Such a deep purple, and then when you turn it the other way, it's more like a pinkish purple. So I just go ahead and color or paint the rest of the flowers in different colors and different shades. But like I said, I will probably have to add some more shadows and defined lines later on. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this and if I was going to use some more paint or maybe pencils. I'm not sure if my pencils will work on top of the flowers. But again, another problem for future me. Our final whip is complete, and it's really difficult to show you guys what I'm seeing with my own eyes rather than through the camera lens, but it does look really good. And I'm probably not going to complete the rest of the page with the same paints, and I'm just going to use more flat neutral tones for the rest, just so that the flowers can really stand out against the rest of the page. It feels kind of strange leaving the pages as is and putting the books back in my shelf to come back to on a later day. But it was also kind of satisfying in a way that I didn't have to push myself to finish a page, and I can just do what I wanted to do, stop there, and know that I'm able to come back later and maybe make changes or add other things that come to mind. Please remember, if you want to see the completed pages, don't forget to subscribe, or you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I am a Geeky Gallery on both of those platforms. Also, please remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below which page was your favorite so far and which one are you most excited to see me complete. Until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.